Hey y'all, David here, Adventure Muffin, coming out with a new video, a little bit on how to repair a SteriPEN, how to replace the battery on this, and to get it to work once again. Just a little reminder, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That is the way I can eliminate commercials on these videos, but I have to get up to 1,000 people. So anyways, today I have discovered how to replace the battery that comes out of one of these SteriPENs with a replacement battery for about $2. And you no longer have to buy a collection of SteriPENs that I have over the years and just stick with one or two. So I'm going to go through that process, but kindly subscribe, and yeah, here we go. So the first thing is to buy a battery. Now this is the battery that comes out of the SteriPEN, and you'll see that it's got a 70, 30, 48. That's a very key dimension, and then 3.7 watt hours and 1,000 milliamp hours. You'll also see that this has a spade connector on it. That's also key, but there's ways, and you basically can't find these batteries, or I haven't been able to, with that type of a connector, but Amazon sells them. Just the connectors. And you can buy these for $6. So, taking a look at what various offerings are on Amazon, I was able to find a 70, 30, 48. That's 7 millimeters thick, 30 millimeters wide, and 48 in length. And that's exactly what you want to buy. I happen to get one that's got a little more milliamp hours and a little bit more watt hours, but those are fine. It's the key is the 3.7 volts that you need to have. So this is a little bit stronger, but in fact they work. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically cut off this end with this other type of a fitting, put on one of these spade connectors here, basically solder it in, and then install it into a SteriPEN. I'll show you how to basically take those apart and put them back together again. Okay, the parts you're going to need are, as I mentioned, some of these connectors, the spade, the soldering iron, a heat gun, and some of these heat tubes that can wrap around your soldering joint and make them effective. I'm going to start with first taking one of these apart, and it is you can do this out in the field. You can grab a 4 millimeter wrench, but pliers works just fine. Got to do both sides, but this is the key way to open this up, and that is the contact that registers that there's some electrical currents between and turns it on. So you take these two small nuts off, in a sense, and then you disassemble that. You can't normally just pull it apart, so you need to actually push it through, and I'm going to demonstrate that right now with a pair of pliers, just pushing on the end of that. Once you've taken out the nuts, that'll allow you to remove this. Now I want to keep everything kind of in the same direction, and so I'm pulling this apart now. going to keep that up in the way. And now you want to take off those small washers that are coming in there, because when you replace it, they're going to pop out and they'll fly across the room. So do that, and then we're just going to take out the battery and the circuit board at the same time. There's quite a simple process to do that. Please note that there's a little gasket there that needs to go back on the new battery at the same location. So I'm taking off the connection right there, and now I'm going to replace this connection with a new connection, because the battery that I bought doesn't have the right connection. This is a spade connector that you're looking at. I'm just cutting it down about 1 inch on both ends. You're going to have a little bit of extra material in order to make that blower tube fit properly. Now what I'm doing is I'm making what they call a Western Union splice. Basically, on both sides, you just want to remove about 1/2 inch of wire on both ends. They are different sizes. Just wrap them up a little bit. And once you get that done, then you're going to be basically wanting to just make sure that they're nice and flat. And you may want to look up what the Western Union splice is. It's a way of connecting these. Now this is the two tubes that are going to be going in. They're a little too long, so you want to put that down as far as you can, because now the soldering gun's going to heat those up if you get them too close, and then they won't be able to slide through. So there you have them slide in. I keep them down there a little bit taped to the bottom so they don't slip towards the joint while you're soldering, otherwise they will start to shrink up. That's the Western splice right there. And it's a pretty nice type of a joint that you just put a little solder to. Once you get that attached, and then you're just going to slide over the tubes. So I got a pretty hot soldering gun. I just want to heat up the metal, heat up the connection, put in a little bit of solder right there, and then that will make a pretty nice joint. Do that on both. Don't want to use too much solder. There you go, let it cool it down a little bit. Make sure it's just a little, there's minimal amount of material there. Then you're going to slide those tubes up and right over the joint so that it protects it and doesn't allow for a connection between the two wires. And then just take a heating gun and shrink those right over the joint like this. And there you have it. Now remember to put that foam tab, pull it off very carefully, and replace it on the same spot as the new battery, as the old battery. So it's about the same. You can draw a line there. It's a pretty liberal location, so it doesn't have to be exact, but it's got to be pretty close. Now you just attach the two sockets together so that they fit. There's a little notch in the circuit board that you can use to make sure that that is going to be small enough. Now you just slide it in. There is a notched groove in the SteriPEN plastic, and then primarily just put that wire, try to wrap it in. It's a little longer than the original, but you can put that in. And I just slip that back in, and it's just a little bit finagling at the bottom, but it goes in pretty well, so that you can ensure that you've got that same USB connector, and then put back your small washers or that you took out. Push those down. Make sure that those are going to be your waterproof washers. They're very important. They should not be damaged. They can buy replications of that probably at your nearest hardware store, but it's going to take a little bit of extra time, so try not to lose those. Then just put the nuts back on. And then you're going to want to tighten those down. You got to be very careful not to over tighten. Again, that's where the 4mm wrench comes in, a little easier to do. I'm certainly not putting much torque on that, just enough to snug it up and keep the top down and the water out of the unit. Now, plug it in, charge it up for a couple of hours, test it. That's just, you'll see that this is at a high-speed rate, but it is a 90-second operation. And testing two of these at once. And you'll see that the green light's going to stay on at the end. That tells you that it's a good charge, or that it's not needing to have to be recharged. This will go on for about 50, you'll get 15 to 20 different charges on that. Here is the battery that I purchased. This is the 70 by 30 by 48 3.7 volt, and here is the spade. It's a 2P spade. That's a key point to this. 2mm, 2.0 millimeters. This is the soldering iron, or one of the typical soldering irons, and this is the heat gun with the tubes that are on. So not too many parts on that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I wish you many years of service with your upgraded SteriPEN.